This is the 20th lesson in a big series where I'm teaching deep dive tutorials on the top 25 jazz standards for guitar players. There's a link to a playlist of this entire series in the description. The song we're learning today is Stella by Starlight. If you're here to just learn the chords or just learn the melody, or you're just looking for the tab for Stella by Starlight or any of those things, just the scales to use to improvise, we cover all of that stuff. Just use the timestamp links in the description to go to the section that you're looking for. Here's what we're going to cover in this lesson. I'll tell you about the song, I'll play the melody with tab on the screen for you, I'll show you two versions of the chords you can play, I'll teach you the scales you can use to improvise over the whole progression, all with demonstrations and scale diagrams on the screen. And every lesson in this series includes a unique piece of advice for how to truly internalize a jazz standard on the guitar, so I will share that. And lastly, I'll give you a guitar listening recommendation for this song. You can access and download all of the learning resources from this whole lesson series and from other lessons on my channel by becoming a premium supporter. There's a link in the top of the description to join. You'll get PDFs of the chord progression lead sheet, the scale breakdown sheets for soloing, the scale diagrams, the chord shape diagrams, and a custom-made backing track with me comping. You'll get everything except for the melody and the tabs of the melody because this song is not in the public domain, but you can easily learn the melody from this video. That's why I demonstrated it so clearly the way that I do. Just use the link in the top of the description to join and support and get all of those extra resources, or go to soundguitarlessons.com/join. Stella by Starlight was composed by Victor Young for the 1944 film called The Uninvited, and later it had lyrics added to it by Ned Washington. Though it started as a film score, it became one of the most harmonically rich and challenging jazz standards, famously recorded by Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, Bill Evans, and countless others. It's a must-know tune for serious jazz players with a simple, almost completely diatonic melody, which means that it's all just from one scale, almost, but it's harmonically packed with changing key centers and 2/5s in unexpected places and extensions. This tune is a goldmine for studying advanced jazz harmony. Let's go in and learn the melody of Stella by Starlight. Now I'll play you the melody with guitar tab and notation on the screen. I encourage you to practice along with this demonstration as you are working on the melody. Here it is. Now I'll play you two different versions of the chord shapes for this tune. I'll play you each chord once each time a chord changes, and I'll show you the chord shape diagrams on the screen as I play them. I encourage you to practice along with these demonstrations as you're working on getting the chords down. First, I'll play you the chords using the simplest chord shapes possible. These are often called shell voicings, and they are widely used in jazz. Here's that demonstration. Now I'll play you the more common jazz guitar chord shapes for this tune. These have an extra note in them and they fill out the sound a little more. Here's that demonstration. Next, I will show you the scale options that you need to be able to improvise and solo over the entire chord progression of this tune. I will demonstrate and show diagrams of the scale forms on the screen, and we will do an analysis and talk about them, and I'll demonstrate improvising with them as well, all in one specific overlapping position on the fretboard. Let's go into that. Okay, here's our scales analysis of Stella by Starlight. Every chord comes from a scale or comes from potentially multiple sources of scales, and we want to know a version that is our go-to version to get fluent with and just to theoretically understand. Often I will have a simplified version of scales as well, but this one I just don't think you can water it down much more than this because the key changes are so distinct. So let's just so they just have you can't really skate over them as much. So all of these key changes, this is our one version of our scales analysis for this tune. We have a minor 2-5 that's always coming from the harmonic minor that it's pointing to, 2-5 going to D minor. So that's D harmonic minor. Well, it's not going to D minor, but it is the 2-5 from D minor. And the thing about this tune right away that is just so it just has such the identity of the song itself is these particular strange key changes. So we have this 2-5, and then we have just another 2-5 that seemingly goes to a random different place. Now, what's so beautiful about this tune is that the melody is mostly diatonic. It's almost completely just from a B flat major scale, and yet the harmony is so rich and so it's moving around key centers all over the place, not interfering with the melody that is just staying within a scale. That should tell us something. That should tell us that you can play with the key center by ear and play melodies that are lovely and catchy, even around harmony that is going in and out of the key, right? I've been talking about that throughout this whole series. With the simplified scales approach, you don't need to change every scale every time. We want to work on being able to, and we want to work on also playing tastefully with minimal information so we can actually get through the song and play real music as soon as possible. So, quick note here about the harmony, that this chord here is a substitution for B flat major 7, which is kind of crazy to think. This is like a substitution for a major 7 sharp 11 chord. So just pointing it out as a side note, the root of this E is the sharp 11 of B flat. Okay, so it's kind of like, oh, we're in B. It's very sophisticated reharmonization technique that you play a half diminished chord or minor 7 flat 5 chord off of the sharp 4 of a major 7 chord to have kind of a a really interesting reharmonization of that. So just a side note there. Here we just have a 2-5. It can't be anything other than a 2-5 from B flat major. Awesome. Really typical kind of jazz harmony motion here. Dominant 7 chord going to minor 7 and then a 2-5 from there. But now we have a 2-5-1 in E flat major. So indisputably just E flat major there. This is lovely. This is the 4 chord of the key that we were just in. And it is the dominant 7 sharp 11, and because it's the 4 chord of this key, and well, even despite that, it even by itself completely, it has a sharp 11 and it's dominant 7, it has to come from this A flat Lydian dominant. Same thing as E flat melodic minor. It's a mode of the 4th mode of melodic minor. We've actually seen that scale come up quite a bit in this series because it's relevant. It comes up in a lot of tunes. So then we just have B flat major, the key and the chord. So interesting resolution from a whole step below on this chord up to here. I mean, beautiful stuff. This is called a backdoor dominant. Dominant 7th chord, a whole step below, resolving up a whole step to the tonic of the key. And the backdoor dominant doesn't always have a sharp 11. It often, mostly doesn't. This is unique that this one does. Then we have this 2-5 again, and it actually goes into D minor this time. And you could play D natural minor here, so we're just kind of keeping this D minor feel, or you can actually play B flat major, the key here, because this is the 3rd chord of B flat major. So either one, I opted to kind of think of it as D natural minor, but I've talked about earlier in the series. You want to think of the context. Is this in the key? You go and know your chords through the key. 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, that kind of thing. It's a 3rd chord of here. So you can just play back in B flat major if you want, or keep that D minor momentum going from this, either one. We have just a 2-5 right there. That's just going into F major. And, I'm sorry, this is really interesting. This is a backdoor dominant situation again. And the backdoor dominant, this is a 2-5, and this I think of, especially because we're going to F major here. So this is a backdoor dominant resolution, whole step below up to that major there. So this is a 2-5 there. And I think of it as coming from F natural minor. You can think of it in a lot of different ways, right? If you thought, what is this the 2 of and the 5 of? Well, you'd think A flat major. Okay. But it's in the context of wanting to go to F major. So these chords also, the relative minor of A flat major is F natural minor, or just, F minor. So that's how I think of it. This comes from that scale. See, I see here, same as A flat major. Whatever way you think of these things, and you can totally play by ear. You can use my simplified scale method, though we don't have one for this song. But just, don't get overwhelmed by all the labeling and everything like that. This is just purely analysis, theoretical exercise. For some people, that is right up their alley. For some people, it's not. Some players sound amazing, not caring about that stuff. Some people sound amazing because they drill it like that, with all the detailed theory information. There's no better or worse as long as you're playing, having quality time, enjoying it, and trying to express yourself. So this works though. I mean, this is the scale these come from. So play with that scale there, and then F major there. We have 2-5. We know what to do with those, right? The harmonic minor, the 2 and the 5 of this harmonic minor, D harmonic minor. And then here we have another minor 2-5. So that's the 2 of G and the 5 of G. So it's G harmonic minor. And yes, it's going to G, G7, the chord. And this is pointing now to C harmonic minor. So this has a flat 9 and a flat 13 in it. The reason it's labeled as flat 13 here is because the melody note itself is flat 13 there. So it makes more sense to label it as that. So C Dorian, why are we doing specifically C Dorian? Do you know? It's because of the context of the key. We're in the key of B flat. It is the 2 chord of the key. So rather than just seeing it and saying, oh, C minor, okay, I'm going to play a C minor scale, C natural minor or whatever. No, it's the 2 chord of the key. So because the key center of the whole thing is B flat major. So here's that again. We saw that, and it's going again backdoor dominant, whole step below up to the B flat major, which is the tonic of the key. So same scale as before, Lydian dominant. Very interesting, odd sounding scale, very cool sounding scale. And then we just have a string of minor 2-5s, and we know what to do with those, right? Minor 2-5 is coming from the harmonic minor that it's going to. 2-5 of D, D harmonic minor. 2-5 of C, C harmonic minor. 2-5 of B flat harmonic minor. And then resolving, surprise, not to minor, but to our lovely major sound that is the song. So one of the more sophisticated harmonic progressions of any jazz tune. Not because it's busy, right? Not because it's like there's so much going on, but just because of the nature of the choices that are made here. These backdoor dominants, this sharp 11 thing, this interesting, string of minor 2/5s, like really unique stuff here. There's some stuff in this tune, Stella by Starlight, that just isn't going on in every single tune. It's so uniquely this song. Absolutely beautiful song. And like I said, I think heightened even more by how simple, not simple because it's quite a masterfully crafted melody, but how diatonic the melody is, how much it's just mostly coming from a scale. So one of my favorite tunes, and many people agree, many people feel the same way. So that is our analysis. Let's of course go to demonstrating the scale diagrams and the improvisation using all those scales. Okay, here's all the scales for Stella by Starlight, the scale diagrams on the screen for you and demonstrations just so you can hear it and see it and slowly work on it for yourself. The first one is D harmonic minor. Next one is B flat major scale. Next one is E flat major. And then we have A Lydian dominant. A flat Lydian dominant. There's A flat right there. When it's a mode, I will start on the root, repeat the root every time I get there, land on the root so we can really hear it. It's otherwise the same exact thing as E flat melodic minor. So I want to let the mode itself sink in by honing in on the root like that, like I played it. Next is D natural minor scale. That's a mode of F major. That's the relative minor of F major. So if you play it off D like that, you're going to hear the D minor. Otherwise, it might just sound like a collection of notes that sounds like a major scale. Here's A flat major. I'll just play the whole shape here. My ear wants to go back to the root there. Do it however you want. Your goal is to just see this as a collection of notes and a map and be able to play around with it with every scale. Make sure you have it memorized. I played that note there because you can add chromatic notes in between it as well. And still you're seeing the scale that it comes from as your map. That's how you really know these scales well. Very fun to work on it that way too. F major scale. There's F major, and then G harmonic minor scale. Coming back to the root there just for fun. Those are all the scales. I will now demonstrate improvising with those scales through the progression. Let's do that. Here's your internalization tip for this lesson. We want to know the melody in as many ways as possible. I mean, that is really the thing that's going to help you track and not get lost and just make it be the real song that you're playing. You just want to have that melody so ingrained. So the more ways you know it and work on that, the better. We want to know the melody. This tune is a great one for it, but try to do it on any tune. Know it as scale degrees. Know it as the structure, just purely. So this one's nice because it's almost all just completely in a B flat major scale. But you want to think in like the numbers of the scale, or solfege if you know solfege or you want to work on that. So like 1 7 6 7 1 5 5 6 5 5 6 1 2 4 3 2 1 3 sharp 4 6 5 5 6 1 7 6 5 6 7 1 3 2 2 3 4 4 4 3 5 4 3 2 1 3 3 2 1 7 2 1 7 6 7 1 5 5 5 4 flat 6 flat 6 flat 6 5. So a little kind of rough example of that. That kind of thinking, and I'm demonstrating on the guitar as well, of course, but that kind of thinking of a melody is what allows me at least to kind of hum it better, think it better, whistle it when I'm walking around, right? I'm really thinking 1 7 6 7 1 5 5 6 5 5 6 1 2 4 3 2 1. And if you can't do that on its own, then just start practicing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1 7 6. Just being able to sing, purely the scale, and then you're like, oh, all those melodies come from those scales. So it's good to this musicianship stuff. Sometimes we want to get the guitar away from us to work on our actual internal musicianship, so we're not just relying on this instrument so much, we're using it instead as a tool to play music with. So that is your tip for this lesson, thinking of the structure of the scale with the scale degree relationship numbers or solfege labels, which is like do, re, mi, either one. Solfege can be nice because you don't have to say like flat 6 or sharp 4 and stuff. You can just use single syllables. That's why people prefer it sometimes. But yeah, there's a little tip for you to add to your list of very challenging things to do to actually become a better musician. And remember, if it's hard when you're practicing it, that means you're actually improving. So don't just do what's comfortable. I'll give you my guitar listening recommendation for this tune in 1 second. But first, you can access and download the learning resources from this whole lesson series and from my other lessons on YouTube by becoming a premium supporter. You'll get PDFs of the chord progression lead sheets, the scale breakdown sheets where we analyzed all the scales for soloing. You'll get the scale diagrams, you'll get the chord shape diagrams, and a custom-made backing track with me comping. You'll get everything except for the melody and the melody tabs, because this tune and many of the tunes on the list are not in the public domain. When a song is in the public domain, I'll provide all of that. But for the rest of them, you can easily learn the melody from this video and from the videos in the series. That's why I demonstrated them so clearly like that. Just use the link in the top of the description to join and support and get all of those extra resources, or go to soundguitarlessons.com/join. If you want a jazz guitar listening recommendation for Stella by Starlight, I recommend Mimi Fox. She's a really great player. On her album Standards, she has a great version of Stella by Starlight. That's the one I recommend. There's a link to a playlist of all my listening recommendations in the description. Make sure you listen to that or some other different version that you like as you're working on this song. And make sure you're subscribed, because I can't wait to see you in my next lesson. I put out a lesson every single Tuesday. We have a few more in this series coming up, and I have a bunch of other great lessons in the queue as well. Hit that like button and leave a comment to let me know if you liked this lesson. It really makes a difference and it helps the video reach more people. Check out the description for all the links I've mentioned and for how you can support the channel. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. Take care and happy practicing.